Hey everyone, it's Cassie, also known as KnittaCass. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk a little bit about what I'm knitting on, the patterns that I'm looking at, a little bit about some of my farm life, my family, and a spice of mental health. So grab your coffee, your tea, water, whatever your beverage of choice is. I have my Pepsi, which is my coffee, and this time I actually have water with me, which is kind of new for me. I am very bad about drinking water, and I'm trying to be better about it. So that's that. And I am doing this a little unscripted, so I did not make podcast notes, and I am just winging it. So bear with me if it seems a little scatterbrained. So first of all, I want to talk about my works in progress, or my whips. And I just have to remember what side they're on. This side. Okay, so that's now a finished object. So this I just barely started this morning. So this is the right side. So it looks like nothing yet. It's going to be kind of a super big washcloth. I have a goal to knit 12 washcloths this year, and I was not doing so great on it, so I'm picking it up. And one of my friends, well, actually two of my friends, in the Love and Stitches membership group had done a Harry Potter make-along. And so I pulled out my Harry Potter book. I've knit a few things out of here, but I would love to pretty much knit everything. And in the back there are some washcloths, and they are the 7 Horcruxes. Not sure I'm saying that right. See if I can find a page without giving. There. It's not the best page, but there's different washcloths. There's the cup, the greenie, the locket, and then there's one that's super cute. I don't know if I can show you without giving away the pattern. Let's see if I do this. So this one, hopefully you can see it, is Harry Potter's glasses and his lightning bolt birthmark. And that is what I made here. It's on bright yellow, so it may be difficult to see it. So, do I have it upside down? Nope, I had it backwards. So this is the front side. So you can see the lightning bolt, you can see his glasses. So I finished that this morning during knit group, and I cast on the second one, and this one is going to be the cup. So that'll be 2 more washcloths towards my goal. And that was one of my finished objects. Let's see. We have a lot kind of in random stages. So this is an Arne and Carlo's Perfect Regia sock. And it's a little thicker than I intended, so it's a very tight sock, and it's a little bit taller, so I'm calling it my winter sock. I made it a little bit taller than I normally do. I usually do kind of like, not quite an ankle sock, but a little bit above an ankle. And I wanted to see the pattern, so I didn't want it to be too short. So I am going to use them probably as winter socks when I'm inside and need to be cozy, or if I'm outside and want to be warm. This is only a half object, or a hoe, so I have one of those, and I have cast on the other one, but the other one is only a little bit of the cuff, and I do not have that in here with me. And then there is this thing called Sock Week, which is a play on Shark Week by Knitty Natty, and the goal is to knit 1 sock in 8 days. Some people challenge themselves to make a pair, and some people actually knit multiple pair, which is insane. So there was a lot of merchandise that were shark themed. This is one of them. This is, a knitting shark, and it says Sock Week 2021. And this was designed by one of our memberships named Amanda, and I will link her business page below. She also, very excitingly, is creating my logo. So I've had a logo for KnittaCass Creates playing around in my head for quite some time. I had a close friend from high school working on it, and unfortunately she has become quite ill, and it's not really my story to tell, but she's going to be ill for a while. Like, what's going on with her is not really going to go away anytime soon, And so rather than, you know, causing stress, we decided that I would try to find somebody else at some point. I was holding off, and then I saw that we had a couple of people in our membership group that could possibly do it. I put a post saying, hey, I'm looking for a logo designer. I got lots of ideas. One of them was one of our members. And so I chatted up with her. I actually started chatting with her last night about the design I had in my head. And she's already taken it away and really just blowing me away with some of the ideas and sketches that she's drawing. And she's listening very well to what I'm looking for and what I want. And I just can't wait to share it. It's fabulous. And we've made 2 or 3 changes already, and I'm just in love. And it just gets better and better and better. So sometime soon you'll be able to see it. I'm pretty excited. I don't want to show you it in its raw form. Maybe in the future I'll show the evolution of it, but probably not, because it's a little bit of an exciting secret to watch something evolve and then being able to reveal the final product without the whole messiness of the process. Anyways, back to sock week. So there was a lot of shark themed things, and I had gotten this sock set that had this kind of Caribbean teal blue with some whites in it, and the red that has some darker red in it. Not showing up too well here. And it is called Shark Attack, and I did not have the little band here with me, so I'll have to put it at the bottom of the screen. And so I had this great idea of just doing it randomly. Like, I'm very particular, type A, sort of OCD. Like, I don't have really OCD, but I have like particular things, and I like an order, and I like it to make sense, and I like it to be reasonable. So part of my challenge on my one sock was to try to just let the sock evolve. So do my stripes at random. And so I had this really nice sock. Where did I put it? Oh, right here. And so I was knitting along and doing it at random, and it actually looked pretty good. It was looking sort of like it was intended to be there. I used the different color heel flap, and then I had this great idea that it was going to look like a blood spill in the middle of the ocean, so kind of like narrow and spattered, and then like a wider spot, and then kind of narrow until it fades away. So I worked on that. I ripped it back several times trying to make it work. I did kind of get the right idea here. Not exactly what I had in my mind, but it works. And unfortunately, because it was color work, I was having a hard time figuring out how to do the floats, because it was either too tight or too loose, and it made a really thick material. So I got frustrated, and eventually I said, all right, enough's enough. I'm not playing anymore. So I just stopped. And then I cast on and knit another one. And so I did finish this one, but I did not finish it in time. I think I finished it 2 days late. It looks pretty good, but it's definitely patterned and intentional, not letting the creative process flow as much as I had wanted. And then later down the road, as I was making this sock, I realized 9-inch circular needle that I was using was a size 0, and I usually use a 1.5. So that is, oh, and I actually noticed that when I was trying to knit from here to here, I was like, my measurements are right, but it's not fitting my foot right. And it's because I had a smaller gauge, because I was using the wrong needle size. And I think I figured it out somewhere around here. So needless to say, this is my sock for my son, and that is most likely why this was not working on my foot, because not only was it color work, but it was color work on a needle size 2 sizes smaller than I normally use. So I'll keep this for my memory box of random oopsie-doopsie knit projects where I put my Stardust sweater from Dragon Horde Yarn. So unfortunately that pile is getting a little bit bigger, but I am learning things as I go, so I will just take the positivity away from it and be able to look back on it and kind of laugh a little, and also be proud of how far I've come. And then I just got to make the second one for my son. So this is also a hoe. I'm totally going in the wrong order here. And then I have, this is messy, I have 2 sock patterns going on, and one or two floating in my head, and I just can't find enough time where I can be completely mentally into it after working all day to actually finish it. So it's kind of hard to see the details, but this is going to be my pinstripe socks, and I'm knitting it in the size for my youngest because these are the colors I picked out for him. It's called Lichen. I have just finished the heel turn, and the pattern here is going to switch up a little bit, and so hopefully soon I will be asking for some test knitters. And then I have the super secret one that I don't want to give up yet, and it's actually almost ready for me to knit like the second one to make sure that I'm ironing out the details before I call for test knitters who will further iron out the details, because the one that I'm knitting, there was a couple rows where I tried something and didn't like it, so it's not really the pattern per se on that sock, which is why I need to knit another one. But I'm keeping that one secret because I'm very excited about it. Let's see, what else do I have? And this is my Sock Week 2021 bag. I'm going to have to put the names of all the businesses on the bottom because I'm totally not doing it today. And this is yarn from Suburban Stitcher. It's very, very pretty. I think it's mostly coming out on the screen there. And I have started a pair of socks for summer sock camp in Kay's pattern design called, I think it's called Whispers in the Wind. Let's get this really nice pattern going on. And it's a 10 row repeat, so it's pretty easy. Most of that pattern is not, most of the 10 rows is pretty straightforward, and so it's easy to memorize. It also came with two minis. There's this mini, which is like a variegated blue. It's on the lighter side of blue. And this mini that I caked up for another pair of socks, which is like this really nice neutral. It's a really light gray, almost like off-white, which is also not showing up very well. And I think that was called Beneath the Surface. I'm knitting this on Magic Loop, which is something I learned during summer sock camp. I actually was encouraged to learn it from my sister Katrina. She wanted to knit her first pair of socks and wanted to try Magic Loop. She encouraged me to give it a go. We learned at the same time, and I was struggling, and she had already finished the sock. I think she finished it in like a day. She's really good at crocheting. She's really fast, but apparently she's really fast at knitting too. So there you have it. I think that's it for my whips. So finished objects. I have this pair of socks. I got this yarn at Knit in Public Day in, I think it's Shelburne, at Must Love Yarn Shop. They have a podcast. They have a really nice shop. They did a Knit in Public Day where they had some vendors, some yarn vendors. They had a sheep there and some discounts, and they invited you to bring your knitting and drink snacks, whatever, and knit up on the little hill there. So we met some other knitters, which was great. My sister went with me. We spent most of the day there, and this is one of the colorways I picked out. It's like a rainbow with some whites, and it's stellina base, so it's got that glitter in it. So I made a pair of shorties. I originally intended them to be for my daughter, but I don't think she's going to wear them, so I will probably keep them. Let's see. And then this one, I bought this yarn on my yarn crawl with my sister. It was called Sunfish, so the orange was a contrast, and then this was a self-striping yarn. And so I knit a pair of socks using that. And two of my friends. So there's two friends. There's Alana and Holly Beth. And Holly Beth is actually the designer behind Sassenach Yarns. I can't say it. But she did just change it to Sweet Envy Designs. Sweet Envy Yarn. I'll put that at the bottom too. If I had my show notes, I'd be way more organized, so bear with me. This is not a typical podcast, but I have a lot to share with you. I haven't podcasted in a while, and I just want to do it. So her and Alana, Holly Beth and Alana, have a sock theme for their knit groups, and they choose different themes for the socks each month. And so they had a theme that was knit your favorite movie, and I had this yarn, and so I called these my Finding Nemo socks. And they're not a pattern, it's just what I'm calling them because of the colorway and tying it into the movie theme for the knit along. And then I talked about this pattern last time. It is called String of Hearts by Maddie Hobbs. It's got this nice heart cable on the side of it. And I knit these, and it's in the colorway Heartache. And I knit these for my sister Katrina. She is moving away, and I wanted to give her a pair of socks. And so I don't have enough of the yarn to make them for me, but I think I'm going to buy more of this color because I just love it. And I just love that my sister loved the design when I was knitting it, and that I decided to make it for her. And look, I weaved in the ends of these socks, guys. Who am I? Of course, I didn't do it right away. I wanted to have a block party and block all my socks and like take a nice picture of it, but I can't find my pins, so I can't do that yet. Is that it? I think that's it. I have a lot of acquisitions. I'm not sure I have them all in here. So I did go to that Must Love yarn store for Knit in Public Day, and I got lots of yarn. So I got 2 of these skeins from Fiber Stash. It's called Basic Bitch, and it's basically picking on, you know, like those pumpkin spice lattes and fall colors. And in terms of that, I am a basic bitch. I love fall. I love fall colors. I love pumpkin flavored anything. I love the smell of like pumpkin spice. So I have 2 of these, and I think I'll probably make another, what the heck is that hat called? Musselburgh hat? Or I might play with a design. I haven't decided, but I'm definitely making a hat of this. It says that it's sock yarn, but it's a little bit thicker, and I think it's because it's tweedy, which means it's got those little speckles of like thicker yarn and patchwork yarn. I also got another Fiber Stash color. I love Fiber Stash yarn, by the way. They're starting to be one of my favorites, and they're pretty affordable. This is called All the Fall, and it's on the Strong Toe sock yarn. 80% merino, 90% nylon, and it is basically fall foliage colors. And I am most definitely making a pair of socks, and I don't know what pattern yet, but I want it to be something with some really nice designs. And I'm sure I bought more yarn. Oh, I definitely bought this yarn from them. And then there's this company in Vermont called Bobolink Yarn, and they collect like raw wool from farmers in Vermont and from their flock and send it out for processing. Then it comes back and they dye it. So I have 2 colorways. I don't think it ever says the colorway on the package. I think this one was the Knit in Public Day design, and it's on their settlement sock, which is 75% wool and nylon, and it is definitely I don't know how I would describe it, more wool-like than most of the sock yarns. And then this one, of course, doesn't have the colorway, but I just love the bright colors in it. And because it's a little thicker, these will probably be either mittens or hats. I got some Magic Loop needles, and I already showed you one set, but I got 2 of them, and because I'm trying to learn new things during summer sock camp, trying to challenge myself. One of the things I want to challenge myself is to knit with Haya sharps, or Haya pliers, excuse me. I haven't tried these before, so hopefully soon I'll knit them on, because I believe summer sock camp ends at the end of August, and it is currently July 28th. So see how that goes. And I showed you my shirt, my Sock Week shirt. I've showed you this shirt before. This is my summer sock camp tee. I showed you my summer sock camp mug. Okay, this was, where is this yarn? Oh, you know what? I messed up. This yarn that I showed with Kay's patterns is actually the Yarnable yarn that I got for July. Does it say what colorway? It's called, oh, Cassie. I don't know. I'll have to put it down. So this is the Yarnable yarn, excuse me, not Suburban Stitcher. This is Yarnable. And it comes with all these little goodies. In July, it has this nice notepad, and it says, things I can do before knitting. Today's big goal, priorities, appointments, notes, water, reminders. And it's just this really cute thing. And then it says, pick your project on the bottom. It also came with this stitch marker, which is a red, white, and blue popsicle, which was pretty cute. It also came with a Summer Vibes sticker, because that is the theme of the box. And this says Knitting Vibes. That was the July Yarnable. And the Suburban Stitchers, I showed you the contrast yarns, and this is the main colorway yarn. This is called Beneath the Surface. I have it caked in 2 cakes because I want to do 2 at a time socks. And I'm thinking I might do toe-up socks, which is going to be something new for me. So we'll see how that works. I'll take you along with me. I also have, and I forgot to show you this really cute shark stitch marker for Sock Week. And again, I'll put the businesses down below. I also got this awesome book at the Knit in Public Day. It is called Winter Knits from Scandinavia. It has 24 patterns for hats, mittens, and socks. There's a butterfly one in here that I would just love to knit, absolutely love to knit. And these are just really detailed, really nice mittens. One of the first pair of mittens I made for myself are following a Scandinavia pattern. I'm not sure if I showed this before, but it was not meant to be with DK yarn, but I did, and they're like the most coziest, warmest mittens ever. And it's got this really nice, I don't know if it's a fleur-de-lis, but some sort of star-like pattern. I just love them. And I was learning to knit mittens, so they are not exactly the same, which is fine. I learned a lot. They're very comfortable, and no one else has been to say, bleh. And no one else has said anything like, oh, those don't look the same, or what happened there? So, ta-da! So maybe I can make some new ones with the butterfly pattern for this year. And I will probably do the same thing and knit it with DK because it's super, super warm. And I have a bunch of DK yarn in my stash that I really need to knit up. So, is that it? That's it for the things I can think of or see. So, Pattern Envy, same thing. I like the Maya tank. I like the V-back tee. I like the rocket tee. I just started looking at twin state stitches. I'll have to put it at the bottom. Anyways, I was talking during my knit group earlier, and two people were actually knitting a pattern by this designer, and so I went to find the Christmas in the Wizarding World pattern, and this lady has 5 pages of wonderful patterns, sock patterns, shawl patterns, sweater patterns, you name it. So I guarantee that I will probably put some pictures of some of my really big favorites out of her and add them into this section here, so it'll probably get a little silent and just be kind of a bit of a slideshow. And then in terms of books, I've been reading a lot more lately, and I think it's because I went on vacation. So I just finished Which one is it? A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and this is kind of a play on Beauty and the Beast. It's not anything like it doesn't follow that plot line, but it does have a curse in it. I don't want to give anything away. And it mixes the magical world and the real world, and it's just really fabulous how they do that. So I ate this book up. I finished it in a few days. And I want to read this one next. It's the second one. And I should tell you who it's by. It's by Bridget Kemmermere. And the next one is called A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I guarantee the next time I see you, this will be finished. I read a book in between, too. Oh, it was so good. Crud. Well, that's embarrassing. I'll have to put a picture of it. So it has a head, a white head. It looks like a statue with like Medusa snakes. And it was like a one word title. The book is about these ancient Greek gods who are being punished for their like tricks and being mean to humans. So every 7 years they have to live like a human. And during that time, people can hunt them down, and if they kill them, they become like the new god. So there's so much more to the book. I didn't give it away, I promise. And it is amazing. I devoured that book in a few days as well. I could not get enough of it. I will definitely put a picture of it. It was amazing. Highly, highly, highly recommend that one. I have not been entranced on a book. So like the book I just showed you, I love, got into it. This other book was like addictive, and I didn't want it to end. Like, I wanted to live in the book, which is why it's so sad I can't remember the title. And then I started reading this book called Guild by Raven Kennedy. I think I've read other books by her. Oh, there's no picture. Maybe not. Anyways, so my sister saw this TikTok, and this girl was talking about these books. There's a series of 3. This is the first one, and how amazing they are, how the character development is just incredible, the journeys they go through in terms of like personal growth. So I like things that get big rave reviews. I like to give them a try. And so me and my sister want to read this book. It's easier to find on Kindle than print, but I wanted a physical copy to be able to give to my sister. So I bought it, and I'm almost done with it. I've got about this much left on this side, and I don't know if I like it or not still, which is kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe the second one will make it so much better and make it worth it. I don't know. But it has King Midas in it, and the beginning has some like inappropriate sexual content. Not explicit, but kind of takes you off guard that they start there. And I'm not sure I can tell you much more without kind of giving it away, but I think it would be interesting to see how I feel about it when I finish it, because sometimes I'm unsure about a book, and then I get to the end and I'm like, okay, the whole book was worth it, and I totally get it, and I totally like it. So we'll see. And if I don't like it, I won't read the second one. But if I do end up liking it, I will read the second one. I don't know if it says in here what it is. Probably not, 'cause it's the first one. No. Okay. That's it for books. Yes. So, family life. I went to Virginia with most of my family. It was my husband and I and our 2 youngest kids. My oldest daughter did not ask for time off from work, so she unfortunately had to stay home. And my oldest son has a new puppy, and it just wouldn't be fair to either of them to drive all the way to Virginia cramped in a car. So they stayed home as well. We'll definitely have to go back with them because it's super fun. So we went to the Luray and Shenandoah part of Virginia. It was pretty great. My mom has some land there that she is getting ready to build on So she wanted to share that with us, and we went camping. We went to the Luray Caverns, which has like these rock and crystal formations under the ground. Absolutely amazing. It has a piano in there that plays just from the reverberations of the things around them. They have a memorial to the soldiers lost in Virginia for multiple wars. The wishing well that people throw in money, like even paper money, and they drain the well, I think every year, and they donate it to a different charity that has to do with health research. And so they had like a plaque of the different charities and how much they have contributed. So that was pretty cool. And the water was like this kind of like a Caribbean color of water, so that was beautiful. What else did we do over there? We went to a zoo, which was kind of fun. There was this really entertaining monkey who was playing catch with my niece with a stick, but also he has a tendency to throw poop, so it's a little interesting. But you know, he was a capuchin. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but that is kind of their personality. And he just thought he was the life of the party. We saw some animals there, other animals there too, but that was the funniest one. And let's see, what else did we do? We did so many things. Oh, we went to a place called Cooters, which is a museum for the Dukes of Hazzard TV show. And my husband is a big fan, so that was pretty cool. I got lots of pictures of that. And then we went to this really nice Civil War military museum. I'll put the correct name down below or put a picture in. And so it is fascinating. So it has everything from like the Indian War forward. It does have mostly Civil War stuff, but it has other displays or exhibits. And just the artifacts that they have are amazing. They have like little synopsis of what's going on, why it's important. Oh, excuse me. They have some bullet shells. They've got clothes, letters, lockets. One of them has like a living will. Well, it's called a living will today. I don't know what it was called back then. And one of them, there was a couple that were letters. One was a receipt for goods, and one was giving a soldier permission to change barracks, which was kind of cool. You couldn't share any of the photos on social media because it is, you know, very valued artifacts and exhibits, and they want to make sure that people are paying to see them because it is like a not-for-profit organization, which is crazy because they have so many things there. They actually had some designs or some drawouts of the different stages in the war and maps of like where people were moving and the defense versus offense, and like this is in the morning, this is in the afternoon, this is in the evening. Wicked, wicked cool. And it actually was on a piece of land where one of the battles took place, and it had little markers with a description of, you know, what battalion, barracks, whatever was there, how many were killed, how many were missing, how many were wounded, what day and what time. So that was pretty fascinating. I feel like we did one more like big exhibity thing, but I can't remember. And then of course we spent time fishing and hanging out at camp, walking through, cooking dinners, listening to my dad play his guitar. It was just super, super great. It's very fun. And the most exciting thing is this was my first paid for vacation. I have never been able to take time off from work that was paid. I've had several full-time jobs when I was younger, and I think the first few I probably could have taken a paid vacation, but for some reason I didn't. I think it was just the first 2 years actually. And then as my family was growing and I was having kids, I did a lot of part-time work. There was one job where I worked at a doctor's office, and I was just shy of having time off that was paid for when I had to relocate because of the commute and breastfeeding, and it was just not fair to me and the baby. Anyways, so I work as a home health nurse. I absolutely love my job, and I have been there a year now, and I accrued a week of paid vacation, which I took, and it was so nice to be able to kind of turn off that work brain and know that I was getting paid to have fun. It was super awesome. And I think that's what made it the best. So we went to Virginia for 3 days, and then the rest of the time we were working on the farm. And so I have 3 sheep, Goliath, Daisy, and Alice, and I am starting a sheep farm. Starting it very small. There's a lot of learning curves. It's been interesting so far to learn, worry, and think about different things. I tried shearing them. That was a total disaster. And every time I get them trained to go in a certain pasture, it's about time to change to a different pasture. And one of them that we get to, there's like this big concrete barnyard where there was the water tub and the feeder for the cows. So there's all this room for them to just run wherever. And I'm usually doing it by myself. And even if I use a shepherd's crook, like I can use that on one side, but the other side is free and they can do whatever they want. So needless to say, that has been giving me a lot of exercise and making me pretty tired, but it's been fun. So we've been working on making their pen. Right now they're in one that is designed for my mother-in-law's horse in the winter, and so they can't be there. But also I plan on breeding them, and so I will have 2 that are pregnant, and they will need, when the baby is born, or babies, they're fin sheep, so they tend to have multiples. When the babies are born, they need their own, what is called a jug, to have them and their babies there for like the first little bit of time to really create that bond and have that restful period without without other sheep like in their way and distracting them. So we have built a pen, and it has 2 jugs in it right now, but it has room because the back is elevated a little bit where I have the jug, so it has room to create more if need be. Eventually it'll probably, that pen that we make will probably just be for females, and I will probably make another one for males. But I am doing everything step by step so that I'm not throwing a bunch of money and work into it before things are happening. So I'm taking it one step at a time. Needless to say, we worked in there. We have almost everything done. We've got a couple more pallets to put into some of the gaps and finish it with stall mats. We do have all the stall mats we need, so it's just a matter of filling in the gaps with the pallets, and then that will be done. So I'm super excited. Believe it or not, even though summer feels like it just started, it's about to be August, and my kids go back to school usually the 3rd week of August. So in a few weeks, they'll be going back to school. They've decided that they are going to go full-time Monday through Friday like normal. They haven't decided if they need to still wear masks or not, so we'll keep that in mind, but we have been spending the last few days getting ready for school, making our list of things that we need to buy, and yesterday we started going through some clothes of theirs, so usually twice a year, but the biggest one is now before school. We go through their clothes and get rid of the ones that don't fit or tight or they don't wear very often, and if they're pass-onable, we try to pass it on to somebody. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of people that we know that can receive our hand-me-downs, so we tend to give them to like the thrift store, Goodwill, that kind of thing. However, I just like had this bright idea. So I didn't have that idea now. I had it like a couple weeks ago when we were at this really nice wedding. My brother-in-law's sister has 2 kids. One's a little girl and one's a little boy. And the little boy is younger and smaller than Weston. So I finally have a place to put his clothes. We get a lot of hand-me-downs, mostly from my sister. They're always in really good shape. And Weston always has so many clothes that he doesn't really wear them down very much. I mean, he has a couple shirts that he's totally attached to that he ruins, and they usually have to get thrown away. But for the most part, they're really good condition. So I finally have someone we can send it to. And then the clothes that, don't fit or broken, like really soiled, whatnot, we typically try to repurpose or throw away. I'm really terrible at the repurpose part. I want to be better about it, so most of the time they get thrown away. Trying to learn to put the t-shirts into rags. You can never have too many rags. So, yeah, that's it for school stuff. And it's going to be fall soon, which is my favorite season. And I don't want to rush the end of summer, but it hasn't been a normal summer. So it kind of feels like I'm more ready. Typically, our summers are, like 60s, 70s, more of the 70s. And then we have a few days that are like 80s. Once in a while, we'll have a 90 or 100-degree day. The 100 degree is very rare. I think we did have one this year, though. So our spring was very, very hot. So we thought our summer was going to be very hot, like 80s hot in the spring. And the summer we've had a few days that are in the 80s and a lot of days that are in like the 60s to high 50s. And it's kind of cold. And there's been a lot of rain the last few weeks. And in the morning when I go do barn chores, it feels like fall. So I started getting really excited about all my fall knitting and the leaves and pumpkin everything and the smells and the apple picking. So I'm super excited. And I actually, when I was grocery shopping, found a Febreze that is the pumpkin spice Febreze. And I've been spraying it on the house, like all around the house, so I can smell it. And it's making me so happy. And it's a little annoying to my husband because he's not ready for winter. And he's like, well, winter comes after fall. You need to stop rushing it. But I definitely want fall to go. If it could be fall all year round, I would be so happy. I think that's it for everything except for my mental health piece. And I did not prepare this ahead of time, so what shall we do today for mental health? Maybe moving more. So for my mental health piece, it's going to be moving more. So there is a lot of research and a lot of practice on my part to prove that this actually does work. But moving, being intentional about getting up and moving around and doing some sort of movement besides just a short walk to like a different part of your house. I mean like exercising or yoga, or like going outside and being intentional about making a couple laps or going for a walk, like a real walk, is really beneficial to mental health because we have these feedback loops. So there's a positive feedback loop and a negative feedback loop. And so whether you're depressed or anxious or not in the moment, it doesn't matter. But if you get up and you move around, you feel accomplished, you're increasing your blood flow and your oxygen flow to all your tissues, especially your brain. It's releasing endorphins, which are the make you feel good hormone. And once you start to feel those and you feel happy about it, then you're more uplifted in your spirits and feel better. Whereas if you were kind of sedentary, and not very intentional about moving, like, you do what you would normally do during the day, but nothing extra and nothing intentional, you kind of feel groggy and sloggy and like a slub. And it creates that feeling of like slow, blech, and it can further your like depression and sadness or just negative self-worth feelings. And so my advice to you is to be intentional be intentional about finding some sort of movement to incorporate into your day. And I'd be really curious to find out what type of movement you decided to do and if you think it worked. So go ahead and put that comment down below. If you liked this podcast, please like and follow. And if you feel so inclined to share, that would also be great. I will see you next time. Bye.